Alright, so this video today is going to be about our local politics, specifically the Sheriff's Department. Now, I've been a critic before the Sheriff's Department. I've been involved with the Sheriff's Department, elections 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, I was for a gentleman. He's no longer even in town, so he moved on to bigger and better things for himself. But the local sheriff, it's time for re-election. Now, this year we have 3 people, well, 2 running against the current sheriff. Now, Sheriff Lobb is our current sheriff. He's been running for 2 years. There's a lot I gotta say about that. There's a lot of reports. There's a lot of different things I've heard about him. That need to be discussed, need to be enlightened for the people. And then you have his former undersheriff, Mike Shoemate. And there's some things I want to say about him. And then we have Matt Montoya, who is a new one in the running amongst the wanting to be sheriff crowd. And I know I do kind of know Matt personally. He was involved in Boy Scouts with me. Nice guy, has kids. I know he was a CO. He was actually, I believe, the major. He got up to major with the correctional department at GO here in town. So, he has some experience dealing with inmates, but as in actually dealing with the law, upholding the law, being a CO and being a police officer or sheriff's deputy is totally different. Once they're in jail, they're guilty. They've already been convicted, or they're already been in trouble with the law. They're already confined. You're just dealing with them within the facility and stuff like that. It's not an easy job. I know it's not an easy job. But still, it's not quite the same as being a police officer or a sheriff's deputy. But I understand, I've seen him. He is now currently with the police department, but he's also running for sheriff. So I don't know if he's just trying to gain a little experience beforehand, but good for him that he's doing that. Now, I know as Republican, there's only one Republican running, and that's Shoemate. James Lobb is a Democrat, and I know Matt Montoya is running as a Democrat. So, you got 2 on the Democratic ticket. Okay, now between these 2 Democrats, Lobb has more experience. He's been in the field. He's been with the Sheriff's Department for years. I don't know specifically how long, but he's been a deputy for years, but he's been sheriff for 2 years, okay? So he has 2 years under his belt as sheriff and multiple years before that as a deputy. Matt Montoya, the other Democrat on the ticket, I don't know how many years he worked at GO. I'm not really good with him on knowing his previous work history. But I know he did good at GO. Always highly recommend it with GO. Great employer, or great employee, great major there. So, I know he's an upstanding person. I know he could do a good job at whatever he goes for. But he ain't got the experience of out on the street or being a sheriff. So there's a question of, is he qualified enough? But let's go back to Lobb. Now, Lobb, he has history. But he also, not only does he have good history, he also has some questionable issues. My biggest thing, when there's an elected official, okay, someone who is elected by the people, who needs to be accountable for everything. I believe someone who is put in the position of either a police chief or the sheriff, the mayor, city council, they need to be accountable for everything in their life. Financials, Because if you can't account for your own personal financials, and you can't manage your own personal financials, how can you really run and manage financials for a corporation or for a police or sheriff's department? That's where my kind of questions come in. And that's what I want to debate. Now, I have asked Lob, and I have talked to Shoemate, and I'm trying to get in contact with Mr. Montoya, and I have some hard personal questions or direct questions I want to ask these gentlemen. And I want it on the record because I want to be able to tell the people, you, the citizens of Clayton, the truth about these individuals. Now, looking up records, okay? I always look up people's records. See, how they are. If they've been sued, if they've been arrested, whatever the case may be, Well, everything I could find on Shoemate, he has no record at all. He's never been sued, never had any kind of financial issues. Matt Montoya, I hate, even working at jail, which a lot of times, even inmates do crappy false accusations and sue employees of jail. But he doesn't even have any of that I could find on him. So as far as I could tell, Mr. Shoemate and Mr. Montoya are clean as can be, as in legally. I don't see no legal repercussions that have came across them ever. Now, unfortunately for Mr. Lob, 2 years ago I brought up the fact that how he's been sued by financial institutions. And since he's been in office, there has also been another one from Citibank that has sued them. So, obviously, it's not past issues with them. They're, they still have current financial issues. Now, the reason why that's important, okay, now a lot of you think I'm just digging at Mr. Law personally for no reason but to hate on him. Wrong. I don't hate individuals for but if you're going to be in a public position, an elected official, someone elected by the people, you are accountable to the people. We, the people, should be able to know everything there is to know about you. Either your, how you feel about Second Amendment, how you feel about the First Amendment, how you feel about immigration, how do you feel, from A to Z, we, the people, should be able to ask and get the answers about you, the elected officials. So, questions I'm going to ask these three individuals. Number one, do you support the First Amendment? And if not, why? Because the First Amendment is one of our fundamental rights. You have no right to not support that. So you better support it. Second, the Second Amendment. Do you support the Second Amendment? If not, why? Okay? Now, these are always touchy situations, but I don't care. I'm addressing this, and I want answers from these three people. If they want to be sheriff, they should answer to the people. Third, immigration. Now, legal and illegal. There's two different things. It's not the same thing. Just because I say, I personally am against illegal immigration, but I support legal immigration. I don't care if they're from Africa, Mexico, Honduras, Puerto Rico, wherever the case they're coming from. I don't care where they're coming from. England, Spain. If they're coming through legally, do the paperwork, that's legal immigration. Illegal is jumping across the border and claiming rights to live here. That's what I'm against. Now, I want to know these individuals are for or against it. And I'm sure you, the people, want to know as well, because I know some of you have asked me to do this video. There's been many of you who want me to investigate these three people and do a public video. So I'm doing this on the request of many people here in Clayton that have come to me and asked me to do this video. So here I am for you. Now, Mr. Lob, since he's been in office, I know he's been sued by Citibank. So my question is, if you cannot control your finances and prevent yourself from getting those situations, how do we know you are controlling the finances and making the correct and wise choices for the people, for the sheriff's department? You represent the people to control the sheriff's department. So you should be accountable. How can I trust you or anybody trust you as an individual to be financially responsible if you cannot take care of your own personal finances? you know, because someone who is in extreme debt or in a desperate financial situation can be bribed and corrupted to bend the law for people with a little bit money on the side, you know, break the rules, let people go wherever the case may be, give a lesser charge for $100 here and there, or whatever the case may be. I haven't heard of that from Mr. Lobb or about Mr. Lobb yet, but it's possible. And that's the fear, is if he gets in so much debt, he may not be to the point yet, but who's to say that option never comes up? Yeah, I don't want to take that chance. I don't think anyone should take that chance. You know, he's an elected official. We got enough tax dollars going to waste. We got enough corruption within the political system as it is in Washington. You know, we don't need that crap. We really don't. Okay? That's the only legal or financial issue I have with Mr. Lobb, okay? Now, another thing, okay? Now, it may seem like I'm taking digs at the current sheriff. Well, he's current sheriff. He's been sheriff for 2 years. So if he wants to keep his position, he needs to be accountable for the last 2 years of his record as the leader. What has happened within his department? You know, what's going on to create doubt by the people? Because there's a lot of people in this town who have voiced doubt about Mr. Lobb. For instance, I have seen public records about a certain issue where there was some evidence left out on a desk in the sheriff's department, and it was never locked up. Yeah, that's not good. You know, that's evidence that's corruption. That's some issues there. You know, who's to say that there wasn't something taken away or added to that evidence? Who's to say that a little something didn't get rolled up and smoked? Who knows? There's no accountability if it's not locked up for 30 days. Who's going to watch it? Who took good care of it? Obviously no one, so who knows what happened with it, right? I've seen reports, I've seen write-ups by, I'm not going to say this deputy's name. This deputy, he's done good, but he's done bad. But there's write-ups about certain issues, you know, drinking, using government property on personal time, you know, things that should not have ever happened. You know, I mean, if it was any standard regular company, this person would be fired. And there were multiple write-ups for multiple things. One thing this deputy has done time and time again, and I never saw a report of time off, threat of termination. So why is this going on? You know, why was that allowed as a deputy? I mean, is a sheriff afraid to not be friends with everybody? You know? And, you know, like I said, he's accountable for his department. So I want to question him. I want him to answer me directly. Why is there no accountability in the sheriff's department? Are the sheriff deputies under your watch, under your control, okay, under your employment, are they allowed to do whatever they want and fear no repercussion? That's what it seems like is going on. It really does. So, I want answers. I know you want answers, the people. So let's get these answers. Let's hold not only Sheriff Lobb, but any future sheriff. You know, if Shoemake becomes sheriff, if Montoya becomes sheriff, or if Joe Blow in 20 years becomes sheriff, they all need to be accountable for their actions while they're in the sheriff's department. They need to be accountable for everything that they do or they fail to do. It's not much of what they do as well as what they don't do. In other words, as they don't enforce their own laws. they allow their deputies to break laws and not enforce it, or not write them up, or not terminate them when they've, or not even suspend them after multiple occasions of breaking rules or laws. You know, I've heard of many incidences where illegal search and seizure, illegal searching of houses or property is done by the sheriff's department. You know, and that kind of fringes on, you know, your personal space, your right, you know, without a warrant. I mean, I can understand if there's a warrant. I can understand if there's a probable cause, but to supposedly, from what I've heard, they just come, say, make up something, enter the house, or search the house and vehicles for anything from A to Z, whatever they want, just because they want to, you know, or they have a vendetta against that person. You know, I don't understand how that's allowed. You know, accountability. I mean, that's mainly what I want. I want accountability of anybody who holds an official office, a public official. So, Mr. Lobb, if you would answer these questions, let us know why these things are happening, and if I need to get the official records and plaster them all over. It's public record. I can. If I need to do that, I will. If not, please come to me. Talk to me. Answer my questions. I want to hear from you directly. I don't want to hear no BS, nonsense, lawyers, all that other crap. Come to me directly, one-on-one. Have a sit down. I'll ask you questions. You can either say you wishing I answer. You can answer it. You can plead the fifth. Whatever you want to do. But sit down with me, have a one-on-one, and have an open discussion, because I'm going to be as hard on everyone else as I am with you. You know, Mr. Montoya, same with you, one-on-one. I want to have a sit-down talk with you. Get your views on certain political beliefs. Like I said, First Amendment, Second Amendment, illegal immigration, legal immigration, and, you know, there's many other things besides that I want to discuss. But I want to have a sit-down talk with you. You know, Mr. Shoemate, I've already talked with him some. I want to have a further sit-down talk with him as well. And I'll ask him every question that I'm asking everybody else, except for Lobb. And like I said, the only reason why Mr. Lobb gets more questions or certain questions is because he's been in the office for 2 years. Now, I'm not going to discriminate, but the fact is, you know, he's sheriff, so he's going to get more hell, I should say, or he's going to get more direct questions, hard questions. I mean, I'm not going to be light. I'm not going to be gentle on anybody. That's not my style. That's not who I am. I'm going to be direct, forward, and to the point. Answer me, don't answer me. It's up to you. But if you don't answer me, I'm going to still go with the facts that are laid out in front of me, the paperwork trail, which tells me the facts, documentation, court records. I'll be more than happy to plaster everything, just like I did 2 years ago. It's up to you. So get with me, and I'll do another video, correct anything I've said if I said anything wrong, and I would update. I'll be more than happy to update and say what needs to be said. Thank you.